Just cracking up with Mr. Omosebi and Onye, about how versatile I am at collecting my debts. So anybody is owing money. And I was telling Mr. Omosebi that if anybody owe me money, he won't in my bill. He's smoking on. Morning, you're welcome to the Discuss with Jim Disu. Today we're going to take it nice and easy and find a way how we can handle separations and divorce part 2. Okay, you remember Mr. Omosebi was here. He's a lawyer, by the way. He was here last week and we spoke about divorce and separation. But I got a sense, and I turned out to be right, that people would have so many questions they want to ask about divorce and separation. Now let me explain. Separation is one thing, divorce is another. Separation is temporary, divorce is final. So we had tried to discuss what were the differences between the two. The part that I find critical, one of the things that is quite critical is, and he answered that, whether you have to register your separation so it's on record, because that will determine, you wait for 2 years by consent of the two parties. 3 years, you don't need anybody's consent. You just wait for the judge. I'm not doing it again. And all the judge wants to know mainly is that have you cohabited? Have you had anything to do with this matter for 3 years? And once you can say no, it's proof. So we did a bit of that, but we'll continue from there. Morning. I shouldn't be saying you morning. You should be welcoming me. Come
to your show. Okay, welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to your show.
They don't kill me. Okay, now let's just quickly run through the difference between separation and divorce and the rights of the individuals in such circumstances. Let me ask, for example, if you're separated from somebody, let's say you're separated from your wife, and you are at home with your girlfriend, the new person you're dating, does she have the right, or the other way around, does she or he have the right to break down that door and say, my husband or wife is inside, I've come to grab him? No, okay.
Separation is
legal.
Yes. There's what you even call judicial separation. That is giving the court notice through your lawyer that for so and so reasons I have decided to separate from.
Okay, it's fine. Isn't that the best way to go? So there's no controversy.
No, there's actually, most of my cases have no judicial separations. They leave. For example, in cases of abuse, that someone is still in the hospital, how will you, while the person is recovering from a battery or something, we won't be saying that we have to go to court. No, the day that you leave is the day that you leave.
But wouldn't you want there to be proof? Just in case the other party says...
What I tell people to do is that when you leave, you send a text message to the families, the husband or the wife and their family, that today I have left. So there is that text message that serves as evidence. When you have been separated for over a year, everybody knows that, okay, this is not within 2 years, you just go to court. The thing is that the court cannot insist that two people, no law can impose marriage on people.
Yes.
You cannot force people to remain in marriages. It's not possible, especially where there is proof of abuse, proof of violence or infidelity. The court cannot even, they cannot do that. So
but Pastor, aren't you?
No.
Oh, okay, but you seem to be very versed with the Christian religion. What about some religions that say, for example, I think it's the Catholic, that say you can't divorce? I mean, what does that mean?
I have been, in the past 4 weeks, I've been to 3 Catholic churches.
Yes.
And I have talked to them about their stance on divorce. For example, I was telling people, I stopped at the first 3 months of the year, that is January, February, March. We buried about 64 people.
What?
Yes, we buried 64. Also, that was my number 65. You understand? So when you insist, you say you cannot.
Wait a minute. Let's just rewind that back again. Now, January, February, March. 64 people.
Those are reported,
It's reported, yes.
Reported
Now, is that in Lagos or in
Lagos
only? Lagos only.
In fact, in 2 major local governments, that is Alimosho and Ajegunle, they have the highest rates of spousal battery. Then Festac is coming and Aja.
Wow.
You understand? They have the highest rates of spousal battery, of domestic violence in Lagos State.
So invariably, we can then add another 30 to that, because women die of on paper they die of so many other things, but within them, when, for example, you keep battering your wife, hitting her head against the wall, and some men are good at it, they batter you, they don't leave a mark.
They won't leave a mark. They even tell you, I will beat you and there will be no mark. Wow. You see, we should even leave the physicality. There is also emotional abuse. You understand? There is psychological abuse. There's financial abuse. You understand? There's cultural abuse.
Let us take that financial one for explanation. Does it mean that if the woman asks you for money and you don't give her, it is financial abuse?
No, it is you stopping the woman from working.
Oh, I see.
You stopping
and being financially independent.
Yes, because at times, you see, I tell people, you need to beware of getting married to a malicious spouse. The first part of malice are people that don't forgive easily. Second part of malice are people that get envious at your success.
Yes.
The fact that you are promoted, the lady came to me, she was promoted and given an official car. She got home to tell the husband with the official car. And the husband said, you cannot park that official car in this compound.
Okay, so what does a woman do in such a circumstance?
Well,
she really has the only female in the studio. Oh, she's visiting someone. Okay. No, that's okay. So what does a woman do in such a circumstance?
If, people say that everything for barrister is divorce and separation. Listen, if you have seen the kind of deaths that I have
seen,
if you have seen the kind of there are people that are on a wheelchair now because of their marriages. There was a lady that was brought to me from the psychiatric. In fact, she came herself from the psychiatric hospital. All she could cram was my office number, and she had run totally bonkers because of her marriage. And to think that she even married for pity. She pitied the man because the man was an SS. She pitied him to marry because the man, when they were dating, when he got to the discussion about blood type, she said, well, the man said, well, I know this will be the end of the dating because nobody wants to marry people like me. And she was like, what? The man started telling about all the relationships, and he now announced that, well, I'm SS. And she kept quiet. But the way the man was, the way he was talking, everybody, and she said, you know what, let me just help this man.
The man could have been lying.
He was SS.
Some of them are good at that. They give you some pity party story.
And that SS now turned out to be worse than they sent her to a psychiatric hospital.
I'm glad you said this, because some women believe it is love for the man to say, okay, stay at home, don't do anything, I can meet all your needs. They forget that they might not live forever, and the tables might turn, all kinds of things will happen.
It's actually against the law to deprive somebody. It's in the Violence Against Persons Prohibitions Act, I think section 12. Anyone that causes a forced financial dependence on another is liable to imprisonment for a term not more than 2 years. Why? Because by denying that person work, you're also denying the government from realizing tax from that person. So to tell, some people...
What about if it is a joke now? If you decide to tell government, take your tax, but it's not working.
It's even funny why someone is so gifted and talented. They were so good, they were progressing before marriage, but then they get married, and that is the end of all their dreams.
Wow. Okay, so now, what do you advise? What? I'm not a lawyer, so let me tell you what I am. But I'm a town boy. I know what goes down there. What we are told is that generally it's better if you can wait for the 3-year stretch before you go for your divorce. It makes life easy. That it says that by the time you're 3 years separated, then there will be no argument. You just have to prove that you separate, let us say.
Yes.
It becomes a bit automatic. Is that true?
The law is that you can't even file for divorce unless you have been married up to 2 years.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, what if it happens in the first 1 month? Well, you can separate.
Oh, what do you mean?
Yes.
I think you remember here there was someone I brought to the show whose marriage lasted 3 hours.
Okay, so they went to church at 11.
It was
Before they got to reception, everything done that.
Yes, and he is a clergy. He is actually a pastor. You understand, because of the complications of this marriage committee, this happy home, all these committees. You don't actually get to know your person, your spouse, in total. Then
yes,
on the marriage day, you are just cast together. Just whatever you see. And the first, as in on the same day, we got married. So that one, you would have to wait 2 years.
2 years.
Now, 2 years
for divorce.
Yes, to be able to file
for divorce.
So 2 years. I think that our Marriage Act needs to be overhauled. That is my own personal opinion. You understand? Because the 2 years, the 3 years does not really change anything. Before, there was a case when they were, the magistrate was still, no, it was the High Court, and the lady said that she would not, just to inform all of us, that she will not do this for more than 7 months. That if within 7 months they do not grant her divorce, that she will go and marry another person because she has already done the law. That is, she did the law. That's what she put it like. I did the law by coming to tender pay for a lawyer. And if you are not going to be telling me go and come I've already informed you. I am no longer interested.
Really?
So if you like, the judge was angry and was laughing at the same time.
Yeah.
Because she said I can't. Some people do divorces for
5 it takes like forever. Yes.
5 years. And some people now for divorces you even go outside Lagos.
Oh, okay. So if I'm married to Oyiye now, and she looked up now. Maybe she wants me to marry her. Sorry. If I'm married to Oyiye here now and she wants to get a divorce, she can go to Navy to go and get a divorce.
Not that far, but you can apply, for example, if that's where she is staying.
Yes, that's her hometown. Aren't you from Ebonyi? She can go to Ebonyi to get
whoever initiates the
can go anywhere.
Yes.
That's a good ploy. Make it inconvenient for the brother. You'll be your family house.
Do that. So
he will be coming from
Lagos. The person will not come, but will just forward his, probably through a lawyer in that location, or the lawyer will have to travel down to show that they're not contesting.
Can you explain? Sometimes some marriages are broken down, but one of the parties just wants to be wicked to put you through stress. By adjourning and this and that. I've seen divorce cases that have taken 4 or 5 years. It can be very frustrating.
And I'm involved in one now that started 2003.
And the case is still on.
2003, I think. No, it's not 2013. Yeah, about 2003. 2004.
Wow. But what life can go on. The only thing is you can't be. But there's no. It's okay. So if you're married, you're separated. Both from the biblical side and whatever, can you have a full relationship with another person?
When this is what let me give
it's not adultery.
Let me give you a ploy that people use. They would say that as long as the divorce has not come out, if you are in another relationship, it is adultery. But that is not true. Marriage is by consent. So I am the one that said yes. So if as a result of hardship, irreconcilable differences I experience in your home, I say I am no longer interested. To every agreement, marriage is an agreement between two people. To every agreement, there are terms and conditions. And that is why I tell people, listen, we should stop reciting this marriage oath that I take thee to be my lawfully wedded husband and wife, to have and to hold in sickness and in health, till death do us part. Why? Because it actually spells out nothing. And this is not in, people think it is in the Bible. It is not in the Bible. It was written by the Archbishop of Canterbury in 1548. So it was somebody that wrote that people think it is in the Bible. He wrote it.
I see. But why have we adopted it even in the courts?
Sorry?
We've adopted it even in the...
Yes, it's because that is what clergy always repeat. Now, when you go to other countries, Western countries, everybody writes their own oath and vow.
Really?
Yes, you write your own. For example, I would include that the day you slap me is the end of the marriage.
What do we do prenuptials here? No, we don't. I think we should start.
What I think is all this should be in the marriage oath. I promise that I will do this, I will do that, I will do.
So, if you want to marry the lady, you know the lady who used to be at the reception looking for Diabome here, and she says that anybody who wants to marry her must already have 2 SUVs and take her holiday 4 times a year. So she will tell you to put it that I promise to.
If she wants that, now she will take someone that works in the.
I think I need to read it. I need to read it.